Hey everybody, welcome to Mathematical Production. Today we're going to be going over an example on how to use the product rule in order to solve the derivatives of two functions being multiplied together. So our example for today is going to be taking the derivative of cosine of x times tangent of x. So if you remember from our last video, whenever you're taking the derivative of two functions being multiplied together, that's going to be equivalent to your first function multiply the derivative of your second function added to your second function multiplied by the derivative of your first function. And the little note that I use to remember this is 1d2 plus 2d1. Where 1 is your first function, d2 is the derivative of your second function, 2 is your second function, and d1 is the derivative of your first function. So it's pretty straightforward. All right, so what I like to go ahead and do is identify your functions. So the first one is cosine of x. So let's go ahead and label that. So f of x is equal to cosine of x. Your second function is tangent of x. So g of x is equal to tangent of x. And if you're new to this, I'll say go ahead and take the derivatives of both of this so that way you can just plug it into the formula. So derivative of cosine is negative sine. And that's just something you have to memorize. And the derivative of tangent is secant squared. And let's go ahead and plug it into our formula. So remember 1d2. 1 is your first function, which is cosine. d2, derivative of your second function, which is secant squared. And then we're adding that to 2, d1, where 2 is just your second function, which is tangent of x. d1 is derivative of your first function, and that gives you negative sine of x. So if you go ahead and rewrite this to simplify, that means your answer is going to be cosine of x times secant squared of x minus sine of x times tangent of x. And most of the time, it's okay to leave your answer as this, unless your teacher tells you to simplify it using trig identities. So here's your answer. And one of the reasons why I chose this example is to pretty much demonstrate that it's best to evaluate your given functions before you go ahead and use product rule. Because if you would have took a second look at this, you would have realized that tangent is actually sine over cosine. So if you apply that identity, instead of taking the derivative of cosine times tangent, that's the equivalent of taking the derivative of sine. Cosine times sine divided by cosine. And the cosines would have canceled out. And then you'll be left with the derivative of sine of x. And derivative of sine of x is just cosine of x. So if you would have took a second to look at it and evaluate it, this would have been all the work you had to do instead of carrying out the whole entire product rule. So just be cautious of that whenever you're doing derivatives, because it could save you a lot of time in the future. And just know your rules. And by the way, cosine is equal to what we found earlier. And here's the proof for all of this in case you want to check it. All right, so that's my video for today. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of my other videos. And like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day.